Hello, everybody. Congratulations. You've made it to week 4. So this week, we are going to be talking about being present anyway through life's challenges and difficulties and the things that can make us feel out of alignment or thrown off. And the things that can pull us into a belief that we're somehow off path and how to deal with it. That's this week's conversation. And so first of all, one of the most important things to remember is that you cannot ever be off path. For sure, I can't even say for sure because it's all such a mystery, but the way it feels for me, I would say for sure there are choices we can make that can be damaging, and there are choices that we can make that are healing and bring us into joyful moments. Nevertheless, whatever choices we make, whatever we experience, whatever feelings may be passing, even when it's really difficult, even when we feel out of connection, there's always an invitation and an opportunity, even if it's just to feel and be opened by the grief or the sadness. There's always something that can happen alchemically in our moment that will evolve us. And simply for that in and of itself is the unfolding prayer. Perhaps we could say that in a way, the essential prayer of your life, of our lives, is fundamentally the same in a way, because it comes from spirit, and the essential prayer is simply that we evolve, and to take it a step further, evolve in a good way. And that's humanizing it, because it's only in this dimension, in our earthly experience, that there's judgment. I mean, perhaps there are other dimensions where there's judgment, but the point is, from God's perspective, whether what we experience is painful or delightful, it's just an experience. And so the prayer of our life that's essential and the same for all of us is simply the prayer of evolution, that we grow, that we carry on, that we live, that we don't stagnate and deteriorate, that we don't detonate due to the roboticness and repression and the conditioning of modern life. So you see, we're human, and so we humanize it all. And so to weave back and forth again, the essential prayer of our life that is the same for all of us because it comes from spirit is this prayer, this impulse to evolve and to humanize it and be in creativity with it, because that is so much what all of life on earth is about, is creativity, and hopefully joyful creativity. The prayer of our life is to evolve joyfully and to evolve and grow into the flowers that we are, to bloom and when we're going through deaths and painful incubations, that we go through it gracefully, that we have the courage to be in it and to be whittled away and chiseled as life dictates and says that we must be, because we don't see the whole picture the way that life does, the way that God does. We don't see the places in which we need to grow. We do. We see some of it, but there's a bigger perspective that we don't know. It's a mystery. And so things happen in our lives that are painful and difficult. And the point is that when they're happening, we're not off path, and we didn't make some terrible mistake, and we haven't doomed ourselves. That sometimes feeling out of connection is just where we're at. And so if the essential prayer that is the bedrock of all of our prayers, of all of our lives, if the essential prayer is to evolve and to grow and to flower and bloom, and to let that happen joyfully and gracefully, to let it happen however it must happen, if that is the essential prayer, then simply by resting, as simple as it sounds, but we all know it's not always so simple, simply by resting into our beings, into whatever's happening, the sorrow, the grief, the pain, the frustration, the confusion, to the vulnerability, being more open than ever before, or letting love in and feeling the resistance to contract and letting it be there, and breathing in and opening, feeling whatever you're feeling. When the mind comes and says, oh, this is off path, or I need to feel lit up if I'm going to be manifesting in some beautiful way, if the statement of my being is going to be high enough vibration that it's going to attract good things, then I must be in a high vibration. I must be. When these voices come, to take a deep breath and to just rest with whatever is. This restfulness is the seat of wholeness and completion that keeps us in that place beyond fragmentation. It's when we start to say no that we fragment ourselves off, and that we can feel more disconnected from the prayer, from the goodness of our path. In this sphere of restfulness inside is trust, and on a moment-to-moment basis, simply reorienting and returning to presence again and again will keep you in this sphere. It is the sphere itself. The presence is the sphere. And the reorientation, that's the choice we have as conscious beings. Our awareness comes in and it shows us, oh, your mind, it's the flashlight. Our awareness is a flashlight that gives us a choice. And so it shines the light on the mind that is saying, no, you shouldn't be feeling this, or this shouldn't be happening, or you're off path, or you're going to create bad things in your life if you're like this. Our awareness comes in to shine the flashlight to say, look what's happening. And then our choice is there to just rest and to choose to not believe the dialogue of the mind, this diatribe, to not believe it. Simply by not choosing it, simply by not engaging with it, simply by letting it be there and carrying on in presence Carrying on in presence can mean so many different things depending on what's going on. Sometimes carrying on in presence means we need to have a strong boundary and take some space. Sometimes that is the embodiment of presence, because presence is just with whatever is happening. It's not denying, it's not saying no, it's not controlling. So if it's a difficult moment, for example, with someone and the emotional body is getting really activated, well, then we know that we're not in a place to speak, perhaps. Perhaps if we speak, then we're going to speak off path, because our emotional body isn't meant to be the place of our creativity. It's many things that if I start to talk about it, we'll go on and on forever about the emotional body. It's not the subject right now. But the emotional body, the point is not the place for our creation in challenging moments in particular. For sure, we might write a beautiful poem when we're sad or when we're elated, or create a beautiful piece of artwork. But if I'm really angry right now from something that you said, and I speak from that place, I'm not speaking from a place of presence. I'm speaking from the anger if it's really strong and it's really taking over. And so sometimes reorienting and remaining in presence means that we sit and we go, okay, right now, my emotional body is taking over and I need some space. And we create a strong boundary and we separate ourselves from whatever is happening. Meaning we walk away if it's a dialogue with another person, or we say, I need to get off the phone now, something's happening for me and I really want to honor you and honor this relationship. And so the best way I can do that right now is just by getting off the phone. So once I'm clear again, I'll call you and we can continue. We can get to the place that we really want to get to, right? And I'm talking about the difficult moments because they're the difficult ones. They're the ones we often need the most support, help with. Yet also, sometimes we need help with the good ones too. For example, when we meet someone new, whether it's a new friend or a potential love interest, and we feel really vulnerable and we want to hide. It's actually a beautiful moment that our openness is being so touched. We're so touched within ourselves and the potential and the beauty of connection that we shiver or we quiver or we go to retract a little bit or a lot. And sometimes remaining on presence, like in moments like this, means taking a deep breath and remaining there and being true and authentic and letting ourselves feel that rawness without shutting down. And so you may notice that the common thread of all of these moments of remaining in presence, we can rely on our authenticity. Right? Because our authenticity means we're being really honest about who we are and where we're at in that moment. And sometimes we need to put words to that with whomever we're with to feel safe or for other reasons. And that's okay. And so today's sharing is so much about remaining present, right? Present anyway. I feel scared to be this open, but I'm staying present. I'm not going to go into my defenses and my personality. I'm not going to hide in a sense of humor and start joking and go into these old masks and layers that I feel protected and safe in. I'm just going to sit here and feel it. I'm going to be present anyway. Right? or the difficulty comes, or the frustration comes, and I'm not going to drown it out with social media, with Instagram. I'm not going to drown out my feelings. I'm going to sit with it. I'm going to feel it. I'm just going to be with it and be with myself. Right? And this reorientation, this is also the restfulness. Even though it doesn't always feel necessarily restful, even though it doesn't always lead us into rest immediately, it's not a speed dial to feeling restful or peaceful. It's simply staying on that straight path, which isn't straight at all, right? But staying on that path, that middle line of presence with whatever is happening also, that we're not identified with what's passing. And we keep cultivating presence in these moments, and it gets easier and easier. And that doesn't mean that it's always easy once you've been practicing it for a long time. It just means that generally it gets easier and easier. We strengthen that muscle. And in a way it's a pattern, except it's not, because it's just resting in what is. But in a way it's like, because what we practice goes stronger, it's almost like we're forming a positive neurological pattern of presence, of remaining, of returning again and again. Again and again. And in this space is the prayer. Even if we don't feel, oh, there's the prayer of my life, da-da-da-da-da. It's not like that, right? The point is, you're in the home of the prayer simply by coming back into presence and aligning your actions with your intentions and your deep, authentic self of what you really mean to create, what you really mean to say in this life. It takes radical accountability, and it takes devotion. And that's not something anyone can teach you. Not in a 7-week course, not in a 7-year course. That's something that is up to you to stoke inside and choose. And if you choose it, it'll change your life in the best possible way, forever. So that's all for today. And today's practice that I'm going to introduce you to is called Taking in the Good. And this is a practice that's meant to support you in moments where it's particularly challenging to come into presence. So taking in the good. You can practice it right now, actually. You can learn it right now. It's very simple. In any given moment, you close your eyes and tune into your body and just feel, track your body, track the energy, and find a place where it feels the most nice. Whether that's the place that energy is flowing the most, or perhaps there's a lovely sensation there. Find that place and rest there. Focus on that. Breathe into that. And stay with it. Stay with it for at least a few minutes. Let it take you on a journey if it's going to, so just follow it however long it goes for you. You can work with this path to presence in any moment, at any time. And in this practice, you're working also with the senses. So when you practice taking in the good with your eyes closed, just feeling your inner energy, that's a very sensual experience, actually. You can also practice this with sounds and with touch. So depending on where you are and what's going on, I just wanted to add that little bit to it. so that it's a bit more expanded for you. For now, the practice that I'm asking you to engage in is the version of this where you just sit with your eyes closed and you self-resource. You find this place inside and you stay with it. And just know that you can practice this in challenging moments with your kids. If you're in a meeting, a work meeting with someone, and something's challenging, you can take in the good around you as well. You can hear a sound and let it soothe you and let it enter you. You can just touch your hand and feel that and let that expand. Okay? So I'm expanding on it, but really, I really want you to just focus on the specific practice that I just outlined a couple of times about closing your eyes and going inside. Okay? The embellishment is just so you have more for your toolkit. Today's practice, closing eyes, going inside. Cultivating this practice of self-resourcing presence. Okay? Until next time, thank you.